So the other day we were looking at the customization of the portals, right? So whenever like you take a Pega application, by default we would be getting few portals, right? Like your caseworker and case manager portals with some basic aspects into it, right? But it's not always necessary that we should be using the same kind of portals with the same features in it. Not required. So we often tend to look at customizing the portals, customizing the existing portals, or creation of new portals is quite necessary sometimes. So we have looked at the hierarchy, as in how or where a portal would start, right? So the first thing is a portal would be available is on the access group, right? So from there, we started to look at the hierarchy. So portals would consist of something called as harness, right? And harness would consist of something called as screen layouts. Screen layouts would in turn consist of sections. They in turn consist of navigation menus or other dynamic layouts, and that's how it continues. So when it comes to this part of customizing the portals and all, we have seen like 5 different steps, right? That might be mandatory in few scenarios, or in some scenarios, only few of those steps might be implemented. So all this part of adding in the widgets, personalizing the dashboards, changing the logos, or changing the menu options, or defining who can access that particular portal. So all of this is part of the customization, right? I think the other day we have experimented on some adding in some more menu options.
Yes.
But one thing that really helps is going to be your live UI. So this feature called live UI will help us identify the appropriate element that you're trying to find out. Right? So you can just toggle the live UI and you can mouse over the element that you want, right? So that we can directly open the source of it. It could be part of a section, it could be a harness, a layout, or a portal itself. Right? But live UI comes in very handy for us to easily identify the elements and the sources of it, of course. Right? So I think this is what we have done the other day. So any questions on this? Are we good with this?
Yeah, the only question I asked that day is the item and the reference difference.
Right. So later I checked on it. So what I found is that reference type is kind of dissociated, or what do we say, the depreciated kind of a rule input is what I see. So it is no longer being used, and that too it is used only in the context related to your mobile configurations, where you try to build your application for a mobile device, or for an mobile application is the context that it is used. But that too it has been used, it isn't been used lately when it comes to this reference type.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Okay, so then moving ahead, today we'll be talking about something very interesting to implement. So we'll talk about application versioning. We'll talk about the different methods that are involved in this process. Right? So we'll talk about why it is important, how you should do it, and when you should do it. So why do you think we need to version any application? Is it that important? What do you think regarding the versioning?
Yeah, because then we'll be able to sort our code properly if we version the application.
Right, agreed. Okay, let's take a
And
yeah, go ahead.
eh, yeah, and if we version the application, say suppose if we have an old code, Then if we lock that version, then we will not be able to modify anything. So the previous code that we have written, it will remain intact and it will not create any
Exactly.
problem, and new code will run as
Exactly.
we'll write.
Exactly. Perfect. Perfect. So the agenda is that the old or the existing running code, whatever is there, that should it be disturbed? Along with that, in whatever layer you are going to create with the new enhancements or bug fixes or whatever it might be, they would be added as an additional layer, right? So that adds up to your existing code without breaking the actual code, right? So probably that's the perfect scenario for versioning. So a simple example here, suppose you've built an application related to insurance, okay, for Indian participants or for Indian audience. The application is targeted for the Indian audience where they can take policies, where they can claim their issues and sort of stuff. Okay. Now you see your application is very successful. You have launched it, it is into production, everyone started using it and it's highly successful. Now what do you do next is you will try to extend your application to different audiences. Right? So now you'll start thinking, okay, let me expand my application to US, or let me extend my application to the UK. Right? So what you do is you will still have the basic application of India intact, but still now you will add in some more other features corresponding to the other locations. Right? You're adding in a layer. So this is for a positive scenario. If everything works well, now you start doing enhancements under. What if negative scenario? You launch the application, but you see a lot of bugs in it. There are a lot of defects that have to be fixed. What you do is again, you release another version of the application. Right? So either way, be it positive or negative, we will always go with versioning of the application in order to bring in new changes as well, making sure the base of the application is still remaining intact. I'm not going to change the existing behavior, just that whatever is coming next will be added as another layer on the application. So, right. Application version will always, it will not disturb the existing base working condition of your application. That will remain undisturbed. So whatever comes next will be added on the top, just like your stack. Right? So whatever comes next will keep on adding on the top of the stack. So that's how we will take this application version. Now, in Pega, we don't have anything called as a code. We talk everything in terms of rules and rule sets. Now, when it comes to application versioning, the same applies. When you are versioning the application, which means nothing but you are versioning the rules and the rule sets. So here comes two different approaches when you want to version your application. First one is called lock and roll. Second one is called skimming. Two entirely different methods these are. And when should I use which one? So which method or which process is suitable for which scenario? Okay, so let's talk about that. Lock and roll is something when you're targeting minor changes, right? Probably some patch related changes, or for smaller level minor changes, we